My name is Raed Jarrar. I'm the Government Relations Manager with the American Friends Service Committee. It's a Quaker organization that is 100 years old. And we've been operational in the Middle East and other parts of the world for a long time. In the Middle East since the 1940s. Most of the work of AFSC in the 40s and 50s had to do with things that we're going through today. Dealing with refugees and immigrants, especially those who were the waves of immigrants after World War II because of Nazi Germany and the war. AFSC actually won a Nobel Peace Prize after our work in Europe to help refugees because of World War II. Also in Palestine from 1949, my organization was involved in helping refugees and internally displaced persons. So now, in 2017, we're dealing with a similar situation, and it's such a mess here in Washington, D.C. I am personally half Iraqi and half Palestinian, and I have many members of my own family confused. They ask me what's going on. They say, you're in the US, you should know what's going on. And to tell you the truth, no one knows what's going on. People in the US have no idea what's going on. People in DC have no idea. People in the White House have no idea what's going on. There are confirmed reports on how White House staff members themselves have no idea what's going on. Many people think that the president himself, President Trump, has no idea if what he's doing now is a part of a larger plan, if it's gonna go through, not go through. It has been suspended now by a federal court. Is the appeal gonna go through? Is it going to the Supreme Court? Is he gonna expand the countries of the ban? Is he gonna withdraw the ban? No one knows. That is the truth of what's going on. No one knows because this White House is unprecedented. This White House is very different from other White Houses. They have no idea what's going on. There is no experience in running a government. There is no understanding of world affairs, and it is a mess. I think what's going on now is an example of how messy and disorganized the US government will be over the course of the next 4 years.
With the Muslim ban, the idea is that citizens of some Arabic countries cannot enter the country. But there are also other sanctions to those countries that are being discussed. What would be the consequences of it?
Well, the immediate consequences of the Muslim ban is that many families will be torn apart. Families of Iraqis who came to the US can't come visit them anymore. Or sometimes half of the family is trying to come visit and they're stuck here. They can't go back, they can't come here. Refugees from Syria are banned completely. So the immediate effect is the restrictions of travel. And that will go both ways because now many countries that the US has banned from coming or banned their citizens from coming to the United States are also doing the same for the US. Iran, for example, or even Iraq have passed legislation that would eventually ban US citizens from going to their countries. So that effect will be felt later by US citizens. Now, the larger effect, of course, is the chilling effect that this administration is trying to send to deter people from coming to the US. So now refugees around the world are thinking, maybe we should find another place to go to. Maybe the US is not a good place for us. Immigrants around the US are thinking, maybe I should go to Canada instead, because the US is not very welcoming. And that is not a coincidence. That's also an intended effect to what this administration is doing. The administration is trying to send a signal to the world that this is a country that is not welcoming to refugees. It's a country that is not welcoming to immigrants anymore. And unfortunately, these messages have been heard loud and clear. So many Americans, including myself, have been trying to give the opposite message. We've been demonstrating in the streets. We have been working with government officials, with state officials, with city officials, to send the opposite message, that refugees and immigrants are welcome here, that this country will continue to open its doors to refugees and immigrants while taking responsibilities for our actions. You know, one thing that I always say about Iraqis and Syrians is that they wouldn't have become refugees if the US have not destroyed their country. So this is not an act of charity to accept them. It's an act of fulfilling our moral responsibility. So keeping that in mind, you know, there is a big rift now between what many in the public are saying. Many Americans are saying, we want our country to be responsible and accept refugees and immigrants. And this administration is saying the opposite.